Let me introduce everyone, you guys to our esteemed speaker. We have Dr. Meenakshi Tomar today with us. She holds a PhD degree in marketing from the University of Petroleum and Energy Studies from Dehradun, and she has also done her MBA from ICFI University. She has pursued her MBA in European Business Administration from University of Bordeaux, France, and right now, currently, she is pursuing her postdoctorate study from University in Paris, France. Dr. Tomar is an associate dean for 1 year global MBA in business analytics program and Office of Career and Professional Development. She is an associate professor in the area of communication and marketing with Jindal Global Business School, and she is specially here, with us today to answer all our questions and make sure that if you are doubtful about the course BBA, if you are doubtful about where to go, or is OP Jindal the right destination, or would be able to help you out with your dreams, please make sure your questions are ready. So I'll hand it over to you, Dr. Meenakshi Tomar. Thank you so much for taking out time and coming and speaking to our IMS students.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And it's always a delight to, talk and interact with young brains who are going to be shaping the future, not for tomorrow, but for the present now. We are in the era where things change overnight. And therefore, I'm sure each one of you, be it from Bikaner, Adhiraj from Mumbai, or Ande from Thane, all of your aspirations would be very individual. Gone are the days when we had limited choices, but now our options are even more. When there are more options, we tend to be confused. And yes, we are at the right session together today evening, where we not just look at how OP Jindal can help you shape, but I'm also going to tell you what are certain factors that you should always bear in mind while you are choosing a particular college when it's about your BBA. And believe me, there are so many people out there who perceive that BBA is a kind of degree which is essential for an MBA. But believe me, guys, there's so many students with us who are running their own companies even after doing a BBA program. So an undermined degree, but has a lot of potential. Let's come out of the stereotype and let's have our questions set right. I'll take your kind permission to just share a presentation that I have built for this particular session, ma'am.
Sure, please go ahead. While you're sharing the presentation, Dr. Meenakshi, let me just quickly have an understanding, with the students, if they have taken admission somewhere. So, students, just a quick, question to everyone. Have you already secured your admission? This question is definitely for students who are in 12th standard, given their 12th standard, and now, waiting to go for the first year. How many of you have, with just a raise of hand would be fine. How many of you have actually secure admission already? Okay, two of you have secured the admission, Jay and Krish. Okay. Has anybody taken admission in OP Jindal for this particular year? So we have one person, two people, Jay and Krish. Krish has already taken admission. Okay. In OP Jindal, is that right? Okay. Okay. All right then.
Quick check. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, it's visible. It's very much visible.
Perfect. So a very quick question to all these students who have wonderful aspirations in life. What motivates you to be inside a classroom? Is it about a beautiful faculty? Is it about lovely friends? Is it about a delightful content? Or is it about a presentation that's just not going to keep you off to sleep? Is it the textbook which is going to get you dozed off very quickly? What is it that motivates you to be inside a classroom? Yes, please. I'm looking at the answers here. And ma'am, I'll require your help because I can't really see the chat box. I can see the replies. So okay. Just one or two replies maybe.
Okay. So presentation maybe. Unveil say presentation maybe.
All right. Do we see any student who's responded to this question on the chat, please?
Yes. So Anvay is replied to the chat box saying that it's presentation maybe which motivates them inside the classroom. It's only presentation. I mean, as you said that, a good faculty, or possibly you're just scared you want to study. Come on, we can, and the content too,
Yes.
practicals. So these are the answers. People are being creative. Practicals. Jay says practicals
All
make
right.
them, motivates them to be inside the classroom.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you people are right on that. It's not just about the presentation, it's about what is this presentation carrying for you in the class, right? And that majorly depends on the kind of faculty who are teaching. A faculty who is thorough with the subject, who's getting you an updated content, developing latest pedagogies to make sure that every individual's focus is met, is what should motivate us to be in the classroom. We've seen an environment where we've been compared since childhood. Every time you come up with your results, the first question that you'll have with your parents is, सबसे ज़्यादा marks किसके आए? What's been the highest marks in the class, right? Now at O P Jindal University, we never compare. We don't tell you or we don't ask you that you stand here, because we believe that every individual student is important. Aspirations are different, individual potential is different, and so are we. Therefore, if you think about a classroom at O P Jindal Global Business School, it is not just the faculty, it is not just the presentation, not just the content, but it is how you will be engaged inside the classroom, right? All right, I have got a lot of questions for you, by the way, today. Now, when we come to our imagination of university classroom, it's very, very different from what you've seen in the school life, right? You would be in a mode where you have to just think about books, you have to think about, all right, what videos should I watch, right? What kind of stories should I see? What kind of books should I read? Now, when you imagine yourself to be in a JGBS classroom, things change. And how do they change? Let me take you even further. A university which offers you 130 plus full-time faculty members. Now, numbers could be looking very good. But what is something unique about this number is that these faculties come from IITs and IIMs, right? These are the people who are teaching you. They're not visiting ones. They're the full-time ones. What's the best utilization with top world-class faculty at BBA level? They are thorough in their research. They are very well merged with what they teach in the class, and therefore your discussions with them will be fruitful. Your discussions with them will be meaningful. Not just that, if you have some focus in mind, these people make sure that you are definitely on the track on your journey to achieve that vision up. Moving next. Now, when you talk about, let's say, institution of eminence, right? A government-led project where they decided to give 10 institution of eminence status to private university and 10 to the public universities. What was so unique about institution of eminence? Governments said that, now it is not enough for an engineering student to just know engineering. You should know how IoT works. You should know how management works. You should also know a bit about law. Therefore, Jindal University has a multidisciplinary approach, which happens to be the core of its value, which means we have 12 schools under one roof, right? And these 12 schools have 7,000 plus students on campus, right? We are fully residential university. And therefore, when you think about why can't I read media and communication? I mean, I'm just reading a BBA subject. That's exactly where the institution of eminence with multidisciplinary approach gets it. Therefore, these faculty members are the ones who would actually ask you to choose an elective from a different school, which means though you are a student of JGBS, but you can actually go and read a subject in law and you get credits for that. You get evaluated on that. You can pick up media, you can pick up foreign language, anything that really excites you. Therefore, when it comes to your motivation inside the class, it's the passion to learn, right? It's not about the maths or Hindi class where I do not know, where I'll be using the alphas and thetas, but I'm just reading them. Therefore, we wanted to ensure that you read what excites you, not just excites you, but can add to profile which you are looking at or aiming at after your graduation. We are in the verge of creating professionals for tomorrow. through the undergraduate degree also. And therefore, there's so many students who try figuring out things overseas. What do you have to do there? Now, if you look at the kind of faculty that's going to teach you, and if you look at the corporate culture, you say that I would want to go to London and study. But who are the people who are going to tell you how it works there? These are the faculty members who are going to tell you because they themselves have been a part of these institutions in some way or the other. Either they have had their MBA degrees, or they have had their PhD degrees, or they have had their engineering degrees from these renowned universities that you see as a part of the globe over here on the screen. So it's not about a case study that you're just reading in the class and you've just been asked to inform. That's not how it is. You actually get to hear from them, you get new perspectives, and you develop and build on them, right? Let me give you an example. Ma'am read my profile where she said that I did my European double masters from University of Bordeaux, France. Now, what intrigued me doing that? When I met with some of my colleagues way back in 2016, I was excited to explore how things work in France, how things work in Europe, because Europe has always been to the core of my heart. And fortunately enough, when I got through this university, believe me, whatever I heard about France was absolutely different than what I experienced. And I learned to be more responsible. I learned to be more sustainable. I think that was right after my return from France when I shifted from a plastic pen to a Parker pen, which I will not throw away even after 5 years. So the pen stays with me till the time I'm alive, until and unless it stops working precisely. Therefore, sustainability, ensuring that you are driven by a community that thinks about other people. This is what I learned. And when I was a part of the cohort, which had 4 or 5 students from other countries, it just changed my perspective of how I looked when I did my MBA from ECFI. Therefore, we wish to bring similar experiences for our students. And this is exactly what happens. All right, this is about the teachers. So one teacher will come, take a lecture, go. What happens next? You are seated with some peers. What kind of peers would you want? I mean, of course, somebody offers us lays in the middle of the class. Yes, this person is going to get blessings from us when we are feeling hungry. Or maybe somebody sharing their own chocolate. But what kind of peers would you want in your class sitting next to you? Anyone, please use the chat box option and reply to this one.
Come on, students. Let's see what kind of peers would you like in your class? Competitive and encouraging, Dr. Tomar.
Excellent. Competitive and encouraging, which means we are talking about their academics.
Yes.
Fair enough.
It's one of the parents who have actually, messaged saying that competitive and encouraging. Yes, absolutely. As a parent, I think that's exactly what you, what you possibly want. That's great. Anybody else? Better than yourself. Adiraj says, Jatin says motivation. Harshit says has a good sense of humor. It is definitely important.
Certainly. It's very important for us to be cheerful, having cheerful people around us. But more important is what one of the parents has just cited. Encouraging and motivating, right? Competitive, passionate. People who are a part of our growth journey, who are not just very redundant, right? How does that happen? Now, for this, you have to think about diversity. In order to come out of your comfort zone, if I am somebody who's been born and brought up in Mumbai, I've just seen Maharashtra as one part of my life. What about the other states? What about the businesses that people are doing across the country? How do I understand the dialect? How do I understand the culture of my own country before thinking about anyone else? So this is the kind of diversity that you're going to see in your class. We at the moment have students from 26 Indian states who choose JGBS for their undergraduate journey with us. And therefore, if you are a class of 60, imagine that you will have as many students as about 2 per state, right? And there are so many people who have this notion that universities in NCR will always have more people from Haryana, Delhi, or Punjab. People, that's not true. You can just see the reflection. You can just see the image. How many students do we have there? Now, these are some of the top business schools addressing to the point that one of the parents said, competitive. A competitive environment is not nurtured in just 1 year. A competitive environment is what a student has sensed, felt, and has been through even in the past. Therefore, in order to continue with this journey, these are the kind of schools from where you will have students sitting in your class who would be a part of your peer group. Now, you remember I remarked on the multidisciplinary approach that we have. Over there, you are going to find many other schools which are not even listed. This is just an indicative list of the schools that you see over here. But apparently, when you're sitting with somebody from the journalism school in one of your elective classes, things will change. Your overview will change. Your confidence just accelerates. And not just that, you will yourself feel that I have just been talking and hearing management. Now I'm reading something else, which is going to allow me to put a meaningful debate, to put a meaningful discussion. And that's what an undergraduate degree should prepare you for. There's a article which I've just recently authored, which says qualified or skilled, right? So there's a thin line difference, as people say. But believe me, guys, it's not thin line anymore. It's thick line already. And where comes this thick line from? How well are you geared up to take up a position in one of the overseas offices of a company, right? Many of us want to go to London for MS or for MIM program. But why should universities in the West or any part of the globe except India should accept you as a student? There has to be a very, very strong reason. Apart from that reason, what prepares you for that culture is what we're going to see next, right? How do you think a university can engage and create options for you for overseas admissions right after your undergraduate studies? I mean, if I tell my mom that I am into a BCom class or I'm into a BBA class and I want to go to Shimla, she'll ask me 10,000 questions and she'll say, sit back home, right? And imagine you're talking about visa to US. Imagine the butterflies your parents will have. Fine. So this is not just about your own confidence, but it is about the confidence and trust that you have to achieve with your family members also. But to do that, you need some prior experiences, right? How do we bring that experience is, there are 4 kind of arrangements that we already have as part of our 130 plus international collaborations, which precisely are, and I'm just going to highlight the BBA part of it. So you've got a semester exchange wherein you as a BBA student at JGBS can apply for a semester exchange seat. If you get selected there, you simply go there as a part of our MOU. How does this MOU helps you? You don't really have to write any entrance examinations. You don't really have to go there and pay the full amount that is charged otherwise. So you actually pay much lesser than what's accounted for. And in case, if you are academically bright, you never know that you can get selected for a free seat. What does free seat implies? Free seat precisely implies that you have to pay the tuition fee at Jindal or Jindal charges and you just go there. Of course, you have to bear your visa and airfare charges. Then there are short-term programs. What are these short-term programs? Supposedly, you do not really want to spend 4 or 5 months staying abroad because, of course, there are costs associated. But you just want to explore 2-3 countries before reaching out to one destination for your master's. Over here, short-term programs are immersion programs, which precisely are for a week, for 6 days, for 10 days, and so on. Over here, you can explore different countries from where the programs are offered. These are university-driven academic programs. These are not cultural trips at all, where you just go and have picnic fun and come back. No, you actually sense what is it to sit in a class at the National University of Singapore, for example, or maybe at University of New Brunswick, Canada, where you are there for a short program and you feel, hey, well, I've been thinking about being in Canada for a while, and this is how it looks and this is how it feels. Then, of course, summer and winter school program, where you spend a little more time as compared to the immersion program. These programs are generally done by Harvard Business School, Oxford, Cambridge, and many more renowned institutions which have historical recognitions as well to their credit. That's exactly where our students go. So if I talk about JGBS collaborations, these are some of the collaborations that you see where our students have gone, are going, and these MOUs definitely exist in the system. These are some more universities where our students go for various kind of arranged programs currently. And the question, where can JGBS take you? Almost everywhere. How do we do that? There are foreign languages. The curriculum that is designed at JGBS is absolutely par excellence, if I can say so. And I say it with utmost conviction that we are the only university in India to have technologically driven courses at the undergraduate level. So if you're thinking about blockchain, if you're thinking about IoT, if you're thinking about AI as a part of BBA curriculum, yes, we have it. And it's a core course. It's not even an elective course. Therefore, when you think of preparing for the future, how do we do it? We make sure that you are exposed to multidisciplinary context. We make sure that your curriculum is at most updated. We make sure that the best of faculty is coming and teaching you. We make sure that you get the best of classmates from across the country and overseas too, number of times. And yes, there's one more surprise which is left before I get into the last part of my presentation, which is, what's your career aspiration? Is my career aspiration aligned with what I see as a part of JGBS or not? How do we do that? Many of us would like to work. Many of us would like to have our own startups. Many of us would like to go back and join our own family businesses, right? Many of us would like to go for higher ed and then, of course, pursue my career aspiration. But there becomes a major part which comes from the corporate. How would JGBS ensure that? It's a mandate for every subject that you get taught at JGBS to get 2 guest lectures by industry practitioners, not by academicians who precisely have more than 10 plus years of experience most of the times, if anything lesser, to say so, in case of certain sectors. So you definitely get industry connect within the class for every subject. Now imagine you're studying psychology as a part of your BBA curriculum. You will scratch your head and say, why am I studying psychology at all? I am a student of business administration. But it's very important for you to understand the psychology of your vendors, psychology of your clients, psychology of your employees. And that's exactly what these industry practitioners tell you. How to apply what you're learning, how to make sure that you have exposure to experiential learning. And that's exactly what we do. So this is just a snapshot of the number of guest lectures that we witnessed in 2021 and 22 academic year. Imagine there are 365 in a year. It's 527 on the slide. So you almost have 2 to 3 guests coming in every single day. And that's how you hone up your industry exposure. Now, these are the companies from where these guest speakers turned up in the classrooms. So they've got diversified experiences. They have diversified exposure to the kind of environment they're coming forward with. And each company will have their own dynamics to offer. You get to learn how Tech Mahindra works versus how Tata Motor works versus how Zydus structures its organization and so on. So when it comes to opportunities, it's just an unlimited basket that you have to nurture yourself from. And yes, it's up to the student how you develop, how you want to ensure that you take the best if you're choosing the best. Whenever students ask me about why should I think of BBA from JGBS, I'll give you 4 broad reasons. Faculty, everybody says so, but what kind of faculty? You've got the answers. International collaborations, well, do we see people coming from abroad and teaching you? That's just one part of it. You going there and experiencing yourself is a larger part of the story. Industry connect, this is the industry connect. What about the people who would want to have their own startups? JGBS already has its own startup incubator, wherein you get the best of mentorship, you get the best of people who will actually tell you where you are going and how is it going for you, whether you should be even moving ahead with it or you should not be moving ahead with it. At the end, is this enough for holistic development? Possibly no. Academics is not the only thing that we should be aiming at. How do we ensure that you are holistically developed? There are more than 50 plus societies that run in JDU, which includes drama, which includes music, which includes dance, and so on. Sports infrastructure is a different set. We have more than 70 plus sports activities, and we keep on adding on to them every year. Our Chancellor, Mr. Naveen Jindal, is very generous, and he himself is a very sporty person. So therefore, he wishes that Olympic kind of amenities should be available on the campus. Therefore, if you have any activity which is pertaining to sports, pertaining to dance, pertaining to music, reading, or singing, or maybe gym, you have it all under one roof. So that's the best part about the campus. At the end of the day, the vibe on campus, the vibe with your peers, the vibe with your faculty, and your own internal fire is what shapes you holistically. So I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to see forward to answering your questions and queries if you have any. I do hope that these numbers, these pictures and visuals did add to your knowledge about JGBS. Feel free to ask as much as you want, whatever you want.
Fantastic. Meenakshi, thank you so much. It's not only very helpful, but it has kind of given information about JGBS, which honestly, as a program manager, this kind of insight, even it's very helpful for me to understand what kind of university and to what level you are actually making sure, the university is going to groom the students. We have a lot of questions already. Okay, so let's start with Jatin. Jatin is asking questions about in IPM why BA degree is given when a student did not want to pursue the MBA course in remaining IPM course. I think it's talking about after 3 years when the student wants
All
to
right.
exit. I think
I
on
get
those
that.
lines.
Yeah. So, Jatin, we need to understand that if you're comparing IPM degree of JTBS with IPM degree that's run by IIMs, they are different. It's not a 3+2 course for us. It's a more rigorous course from the very first year. So the curriculum for the first year remains similar to what previous students read. But after the second year, things change. So if typically a BBA student can go for 2 semester exchanges, an IBM student typically goes for 3 to 4 semester exchanges, and of course the dual degree program, which I did not mention here intentionally. So an integrated BBA MBA student has to take 3 internships, whereas a BBA student has to take 2 internships, which are the mandatory ones. Then you have the option to take up MS degree. Now for MS, you at least need to know the basics of management, which happen to be a part of your second year of the course. So therefore, you cannot think of a BBA degree and an MBA degree. For us, integrated BBA MBA degree is just one degree with a different curriculum, with a different credit structure, and with a different level of international collaborations. I hope it answers.
I'm sure that was pretty much in detail. Jatin is also looking forward to make a career in sports. So, what his question is that, does he have that particular option with JGBS? Can we make a career in sports?
So, Jatin, you may not really find an elective pertaining to sports at the moment, but yes, we have MOUs with certain universities in Australia who offer sports management course. So you can go for a semester exchange and you can definitely read about sports management there with the partners. We, of course, do not do it in-house. No.
Okay. Jatin, I hope that answers your question. So if you're looking at your career in sports, definitely, JGBS would be a very good option for you, considering the kind of, the collaborations they have with, universities in Australia. These questions is something that actually I tend to kind of, I know these questions will come up. So what about internships and what about placement?
Lovely.
These are the questions parents tend to ask, student wants to understand. So can you give a little background on what kind of internships and what kind of placements they can look at?
Excellent. So when it comes to internship, let's just break this into 2 parts. So one is BBA and one is integrated BBA. A BBA student is spending 3 years with us, wherein 2 internships are mandatory. One, of course, is a social internship because that's a mandate from AACSB. We are already in the midst of AACSB accreditation, and by 2025, we will be certified if everything goes fine with us. So that's one part of it. Now, given the fact that there are 2 mandatory internships, a question might come. We have 6 semesters, so what do we do? You definitely do other internships, but you're not evaluated on them. It's a mandate for you to do it. Not get evaluated is a separate stuff altogether. So precisely, you are going to the industry 5 times through the internal department, which is Office of Career Services, established at the university level. So this office is dedicated for your placements and for your internships. Coming on to internships, I'll be very honest here, 90% of our BBA students do not opt for placements. They opt for higher education, or they go back to their family businesses, they work for 2 years, and then they come back for MBA, right? That's one part. If in case people are aiming at higher education, most of them do make JGBS as a choice, but in case if they have aspiration to just join a university in the West or elsewhere from India, apart from India, that's exactly where they opt for MIM program. I'm sure this MIM is going to be a new terminology for many of you. So MIM is precisely Masters in Marketing or Masters in Management of Analytics, etc. kind of a program, which is 1 year. Now, these degrees are again recognized because you already have a recognized degree from JGBS. So that's one part. Coming on to placements, placements are offered to students who register for them. So we have a process where you have to express your interest that you are interested in seeking placements through university. We offer you positions which come particularly for BBA. And just to quote the highest package that has gone, it's 10.5 for a BBA student to have grabbed this year, right? So our BBA students stand at par with our MBA students number of times. Coming on to integrated BBA MBA program, you people are here with us for 5 years, which precisely means 10 semesters. How many opportunities of internships will you get? You have to do at least 3 mandatory internships. In the last semester, you go for 6 months of corporate internship, or you undertake a RISE project. What is RISE? RISE is Research in Innovation and Social Entrepreneurship leg. Precisely putting your own startup into the blueprint where people come and you have to perform and you have to establish a company out of it. How many of you have heard about Sleepy Owl on Amazon, Femora on Amazon? That's exactly a JGBS-led venture through these startups, right? So again, for integrated BBA students also, Office of Career Service processes your internships. They get you the right kind. They map them to your interest. They also further map them when you are specializing. So it's not that you just have to take whatever you're getting. No. Everything depends on your interest. What do you want to do? And therefore, the academic progression is very much aligned. There are companies who come to the campus, but then there are many companies who participate in the internship fairs that we organize from time to time. So it again depends on the kind of participation that the students showcase. There's one very beautiful program that we have inside our curriculum, which is academic assistantship. And ma'am, this is something very important that I must tell you. So we thought that, when our students go to corporates, they face some troubles acclimatizing themselves with pressure, time management, punctuality, how to handle too much, etc. So academic assistantship is precisely where a student gets tagged to a faculty. They do not do any administrative work, no, but they have to work along with the corporate, do some kind of work wherein they understand how can they handle pressure. So they could be possibly reading 50 news articles in just 2 days, and they have to summarize it up in front of the faculty. So this is the kind of rigorous work that we do to make sure that you people can stand up to the competition. You people can possibly explore your potential as a student. And not just that, whenever you're drafting your statement of purpose, believe me, we have seen transitions on how people wrote their SOP while they were applying at JGBS versus what they did after 3 years. And we saw terrific performances.
Very, very informative. That is very helpful, Meenakshi. one thing which I definitely would want all the students to know, that universities like JGBS is going to give you opportunities. Okay, opportunities would be given to no matter which particular university you would land to, but always remember, how to make gold of that particular opportunity is completely in your hand. If you if you know how to take the opportunity, make sure it works in your favor. Hard work is the key. Consistency is the key. Okay, so don't give up. And thank you so much. This was very insightful and very detailed. I mean, if this is the kind of rigor you have, I'm sure the outcome, the destination, what they are looking at is something which will definitely be great. We have a question actually from Advay. He was asking, how is BCom different from BBA in your university?
Amazing. That's a lovely question. And I was, in fact, waiting for this question to come in this session. So, when you talk about commerce, Advik, is that the name?
Advay, Advay.
Advik. Advik, understand that when traditionally universities started exploring business or management education, they thought that a lot of accounting and finance should only be a major part. So you were reading income tax, you were reading financial management, financial accounting, cost and management accounting. Understand, typically, if you were reading 8 courses, 5 of them pertain to accounting. So at the end, students were opting for CA, CS, or MBA typically, right? Gone are the days. Now companies want problem solving skills. They want critical thinking skills. They want decision making. They want artificial intelligence to be known to students. They want students to be prepared, having hands-on knowledge on how to work on different kind of softwares. If you're talking about marketing and sales, you should know the difference between the two and just not marketing alone. So what we did was we curated a curriculum which is business administration and not really accounting. So if you have any time to explore the website of Jindal School of Banking and Finance, you pull out the curriculum that is delivered to a BCom student and you pull out the curriculum that is delivered to a BBA student. There's an absolute difference that you will sense in both of them. So one is accounting and finance driven, the other is business administration driven. Business administration will typically talk about 6 functions, which include organizational behavior and human resources, information and analytics, marketing, HR, finance and accounting, and of course, strategy, right? So strategic mindset, a part of HR, a part of marketing. This is how we shape you. Now, do business students get to choose electives? Yes, you get to choose electives in the final year. You have some core courses, but you have 12 electives to choose from spread across 2 semesters, which means you have the choice of going out and choosing what you want to read. Now, if you want to read clinical counseling or if you want to read clinical psychology, you can do that if it's being offered as a part of the cross-registered elective. What is a cross-registered elective? Any elective which is not offered by business school but is being offered by the other schools of JGU, and you are going to be a part of that. Question is, how will it get integrated in my timetable? So nobody asked me what is it like to be a student at JGBS. So a student at JGBS, you typically have a 7 a.m. for yoga, followed by breakfast, and 8 a.m. is your first class, right? If you are a cross-registered elective student, what time will your class end? It'll end at 10:30 or 11 p.m. at night. So you have the whole day to offer to yourself, and you have to manage your time. You have to do a lot of things. You have to involve yourself in sports activities also. So even while I board a taxi, while I travel anywhere, and if by chance, if I have to go to the university to pull out some money from the ATM, trust me, even at 4 a.m., the campus is lively as ever. So you'll always find life. You'll always find fun. You will always find dialogues happening. You will find a lot of intellectual exchange. And yes, the faculty is very liberal in terms of giving you extra additional hours in case if you want. There are many students who come to us and say, I am from science background. How will I cope up with accounting, finance, and mathematics if I haven't read it? There are tutorials. There are student-led tutorials. You don't even have to worry, right? So we make sure that you are not scared of anything. In fact, we help you come out of that scare. through multiple ways. And at the end of the day, we do not believe in creating masses. We believe in putting individual focus as per individual's capability and potential. And trust me, many institutions in India have tried their hands on, but at the end of the day, uh, one needs to make things measurable and achievable. Therefore, we have a faculty to student ratio of 1:9, even as on date, which means a faculty typically mentors 9 students individually. So if at times your parents want to meet, they would probably not meet your assistant dean, they would be meeting your faculty mentor who would know in and out of where you stand.
Wow, that was so detailed, and thank you. So, students, if you're looking at rigor, parents, if you want that rigor for your, for your kids, then I'm sure that particular question of BCom and BBA has been answered very beautifully. Thank you so much, Meenakshi. We have this question coming the next, okay, which has actually been asked by a lot of students, and I'm sure this batch also has a similar question. A lot of universities offer a lot of courses, okay. It's just honors with a normal BBA, and the question is exactly the same. Your BBA degree is for 3 years, but in some other colleges it's for 4 years. What is the difference? So basically, in other colleges, you would find a 4-year BBA honors degree.
Mhm.
So the student wants to understand what exactly is the difference.
All right. So precisely whatever you do not read in BCom is what you read in a 4 years degree. That's the very simple and brief answer I can surely say with utmost conviction. See, at the end of the day, it's not about what kind of courses, how many courses you are taking. It's about, is this course making any meaning to your next progression? If you are aiming at doing masters in finance, then it's all right. You choose finance electives, you choose the ones which you're going to study later. Number of times it has happened that when students apply overseas for their MBA, they say, this is something I've already read in my BBA. Why should I be reading it again? Right? Now, the thing is that there's a detailed associated to it. There's an in-depth foundation which awaits your limited wisdom in that subject. So we chose very wisely. We chose with consciousness as to what kind of graduate attributes should we be giving to our students, both from the perspective of higher education and from the perspective of making sure that you are industry ready. That's important. And believe me, there was recently a meeting that I chaired with IBM. I'm sure IBM is a known brand name to all of you. So there was this team meet, and I just asked a candid question. I mean, you just heard my introduction. It says I'm also the associate dean of 1-year MBA. So I said, do you recognize a 1-year MBA degree? And the reply that I got from the industry experts from IBM, and they were very senior people who addressed this, was, Meenakshi, duration doesn't really matter. What matters is what you're bringing on the table. If you're skilled, that's what we want. If you're getting skilled in 3 years, fairly good. There's something called as minimum qualification. So we say minimum tenure that you should be in the university should be 3 years, right? So when you ask about 3 years or 4 years, honors is something which showcases the kind of detailed curriculum that you are reading, right? Are you reading appropriate curriculum? Is your curriculum getting updated? Are you reading the same Kotler when it comes to marketing? If yes, then probably you are at the wrong place. If no, then probably you're doing something right. Not undermining, of course, what Butler gives us as a part of marketing management education, but things change. Today, we are used to 3 screens. One is television, the other is laptop, and third is, of course, the mobile phone. Therefore, your marketing scenarios have changed. Have you adopted to these scenarios or not? That's the question. So if you are being made to learn what's the need of the hour, I think that's what matters, not the duration, typically.
I hope that has answered your question. We have another question from Sarthak. Please send recorded video of the same. Yes, Sarthak, as I did mention earlier, I will make sure that this particular session is edited and put up on YouTube for all the students. For for whatever questions you have, this would be able to help. This video definitely would be able to help you out, throughout. So it will definitely happen. Possibly within a week, you will definitely be able to see the video. Now we have questions going on. What is the difference between business analytics program and BBA finance, Meenakshi? I think
Okay.
it's very content related question, which you
Uh-huh.
can possibly help the
Sure.
Harsh is asking.
All right. So very
What is the difference between business analytics program and BBA finance?
amazing. So if you are looking at curating a career in banking, finance, or insurance sector, choose finance. That's BBA in finance, which will involve you in a lot of financial management, cost sheet, cost accounting, income tax, etc. Right? That's BBA in finance. So you'll also be exposed to derivatives, securities, stocks, capital markets, etc. Some terminologies I'm not sure if you're aware of at this given point of time. So all that you talk about is finance, not typically accounting, but more of financial management. When it comes to business analytics, it's more about data handling, data massaging. How do you make meaningful interpretations out of data? Are you able to relate it to functions of management, which again are into marketing? Supposedly, today Colgate Palmolive thinks of introducing a new kind of hand wash in the market, and you are the person who's been given the data and you've been asked which regions should I go and promote this product first at, or where should I test whether this product will get acceptability or not. This is not the intuitive time that companies are looking at. So data analyst is somebody who would actually look at the data which has trended previously, which has been utilized by the company, and that's exactly where you come into the picture. So business analytics is all about nurturing data, getting information, and creating meaningful interpretations out of it. That's what is getting taught there. So a lot of softwares are used by different companies. A lot of enterprise resource planning is taught in such courses, and not just that. Your technological agility, as I said, gets accelerated. So it's more of technologically driven course or specialization, you can say so. I hope that answers your question. Of course, we are not creating data scientists, no. We are creating data translators. So who are data translators? Data translators understand the language of business. And therefore, when you're reading management, you derive terminologies out of your management education and you apply that education there.
Thank you so much, Meenakshi. That was actually answered in a very brief and in a manner which is completely understandable. I hope that has answered your question. Now, there is a question which is asked by Hitesh. Uh, okay, do you have courses relating to finance, like investment banking, finance management? Uh, they have courses, and for your reference, Hitesh, I can put up the link for OP Jindal and the courses they offer
Yes.
for you. I will share the link for you. However, if you would possibly want to if you want to add anything to that, Meenakshi, you can definitely do that. I'm
Certainly.
sharing the link.
So I have a goodie for the population who's attending it, and you definitely get something delivered from my side. You just need to give a round figure on the question that I'm going to ask to all of you who are attending the question. So you will just get 3 guesses to it. How many electives does a BBA student gets to choose from at JDBS? Let's see a quick rough figure. Even the closest one can get that goodie. How many electives can a BBA student choose from?
Okay, we are getting the answers. Arush says 3.
All right.
Arush says 3.
Okay.
Okay. 2. Harshit says 2. Sarthak says 3.
Wow.
Advay says
5.
25. Adilak says 5.
Amazing.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, Sarthak says again, or 5. It's either 25 or it's either 4. So we have some real weird numbers going.
So, my dear friends, I think we really need to do a lot more homework to offer more than 100 plus electives to our BBA students. That's the bucket that you get to choose from. So, it's 25 into 4, Adway. If you would have kept a multiplication mark with a 4, I would have given you the goodie. So, 100 plus electives. and we have two dedicated labs, one enabled with Dell and one enabled with iMac, having 100 plus systems. Their analytics students or anybody who's choosing a technology driven elective uses those labs, uses the softwares, and there are teams who come from industry to train you sometimes. So that's how things are at JTBS.
So the questions, I'm sure this is something, we're very close to what you're looking at in terms of electives. So if you are looking at options, JGBS, I've already shared, Hitesh, I've shared the link with you. So please go through it. All the programs are there. In case if you need any support, I am on Telegram. Just ping me. We can definitely discuss. If I don't have the answer, I am sure, Minakshi is there to answer my question, and we will definitely make sure that whatever question you have, we get the answer for that. uh, I have a lot of questions coming here in regards with it's very, you know uh, in regards with the actuarial. So there's one of a student who says that what should I choose between BBA or BCom or BCom honors if I have to do actuarial science side by side?
Okay. So if you are planning to go for actuarial sciences, then I think you should definitely go for BBA financial markets, because that's exactly where actuarial sciences will come into picture. Why you plan to take up actuarial sciences, think about some universities overseas, not in India, because in Indian context, if you look at the actuarial sciences education, we are still lagging a bit behind that for two reasons: that the curriculum development itself for actuarial sciences takes a while, and B, the theoretical models that the other universities are teaching are globally accepted and recognized, right? So you need to definitely save on your time there.
All right, I hope that has answered the question. uh, Also, Minakshi, can a OP Jindal student, or is there any references we can get for OP Jindal students? Because a lot of students right now who have already actually opted for OP Jindal or right now in the process, they want to understand an OP Jindal student's perspective.
Certainly. And my suggestion to all such students, in fact, everyone out here, is of course, go on to the Facebook page of JTDS. Follow us on LinkedIn. We are very active on LinkedIn. Join us over our Instagram page. And yes, for a one on one consultation with our students or having any word, I am just going to leave an email ID and a phone number for all of you over here. Just get in touch with this person and he will help you out in creating the best connect possible for all of you. So this is Vikram Singh Tomar. His email ID is bskumar@jtu.edu.in. Just make a note of it and you can get connected with him over WhatsApp. I am dropping his number here. So there's a likelihood that you might just find a student from your own state near you, and he might just get you connected with them. So that's exactly the detail.
In case if you miss onto it, don't worry, just ping me. I will give you the details. Okay. Now, we also have questions asking in regards with, is BBA appropriate course for finance perspective, or is there any other course? Aryan Ahuja is asking, is there any other course you can
Aryan,
opt
if
for?
you are inclined towards finance perspective, in that case, you should definitely opt for BBA in finance. You don't even have to go towards financial markets. So financial markets will offer you more of capital market scenario securities. As I said, you can have options and hedge funding related lectures also. So that's one part of it. But in case you can always explore BBA in finance as one of the options. And then later you can develop your portfolio and profile to MBA in finance. I think that should help you out. By the way, if you are planning to get into BBA finance, make sure that all your internships are interconnected and you just don't end up doing something in marketing or HR. You definitely need to work in a banking sector for that matter, or maybe as an investment banker, wealth manager, and so on.
Great. I hope that has answered your question, Aryan. Okay, we have a question now coming on the admission. I think students are kind of
Yeah.
making up their mind. So, is the Jindal entrance test similar to NPAT? Is there an admission process? And when is the admission process for OP Jindal starts? So, please, Minakshi, I mean, if you
All
can
right.
help the students.
So the admissions at JTBS are on a rolling basis. So in case if we have already touched the capacity of the batch size that we intended to, then of course the admissions stand closed for that particular one, and the notifications are already kept live on our web pages. So one need not to ask anyone in the market. All that you have to do is to just go to the website of JTBS and look at the recent notifications that have been kept for this information. Coming on to the process part of it. So yes, you have to apply first, followed by an entrance exam in case if you have appeared for the examinations which have been mentioned as a part of the eligibility criteria to apply for our programs. You of course have to check on your plus 12 percentages also. Then after that, the admissions representative will connect with you to organize your interview, right? Once the interview is done, and of course the interview is very rigorous, so I could see there was one question: how difficult is the admission? So till the time you are on the screen writing your JSAT or entrance exam, it's all right. But once you are in front of the interview panel, that's exactly where things take a U-turn. So you need to have correct attitude. You need to have clarity. Why do you want to do BBA, or do you want to do any specialized course? How will it help you? And what kind of aspirations do you have? Of course, a glimpse of your previous academic journey definitely forms a part of that interview. All that you have to do is to just have faith on your potential. Don't be least bothered about, oh my God, I'm getting nervous, my interview is tomorrow. Don't do that ever to yourself before the interview, because people can sense that. As we said, we choose very wisely and we are very, very picky when it comes to our classroom students. Therefore, you need to give your best shot in. And once the interview panel decides whatever the decision is, the decision goes to the admissions committee at JTBS. They once again look into the profile. They once again look into the comments of the interview panel. On the basis of their decision is the decisive point, whether you are in or you're not in. We are starting off with the classes for BBA and integrated BBA MBA for the session of 2022 on September 12th. So just in case if some of you already wish to apply or you're in the process, just speed up.
So students who have yet not have secured the admission and looking out, or possibly have not got the admission or college or university of your choice, and you're not too happy, this is a golden opportunity for you. You have time, you have the whole month. Take the opportunity, apply for OP Jindal. This would definitely help. And in case if you need any support for 22, if you need any support with your PI, if you need any support with with the whole process, please connect with me on Telegram. We are there to make sure that the handholding is being given from IMS side. And moving to the next question here, there is an anonymous attendee asking, CA or actuarial, which is better with BBA, in finance or international affairs? I must say, this anonymous attendee has already made up the mind of doing actuarial. So please, Meenakshi, guide the student.
Sure. So as I said, when it comes to actuarial sciences, you must always read management and not arts. And yes, in case if you can get to BBA in finance or financial markets, that's exactly where you should be heading. Nowhere else. Don't even think about international affairs with actuarial sciences. It won't work. See, at the end of the day, you can read an elective or two from the international affairs school, but choose what you are doing if it's making any sense. If you already have a profile that you've seen across, I think share with your IMS mentors. Do not jump onto a conclusion without doing proper homework, because number of times people fail to express what made them choose a particular career at the interview desk. And believe me, it's a matter of career for life. It's not a matter of career for the next 3 years. So what you do now, describe what you're going to do in the next 5 years, right? Choose it very wisely.
I would completely agree with you. Students, I have seen, students after opting for something, what you perceive your, a subject, it will not be the same when you start kind of learning it. So as, Meenakshi said, you need to be very precise, very clear, and specifically when you're sitting on that chair in front of the interview panel, you need to be clear, and you need to have your whys clear. Why are you doing it? Okay. And again, If you need any clarity, we are there to support you. Please do connect. I hope that answers the question for the anonymous attendee. Prakhar is again asking a question which has been answered. Which is better, BCom honors or BBA? I think
So,
we
if you wish to read a lot of accounting and if you wish to read a lot of banking related subjects, then of course BCom. But in case if you still are in the exploration mode and you would want to just have a feel of how operations work, how marketing works, how HR works, how finance works, go for BBA.
Great. I hope, Prakhar, that answers your question. If you still have any questions left, you know my Telegram ID. You ping me, so please continue doing that. We'll get the answers for you. Okay. One more question from the anonymous attendee, and the last one for today. Can we switch majors after getting selected like BBA honors to BBA business analytics?
No, you precisely cannot do that because your interview panels will ask you questions according to the choices that you've made before the interview. So just in case if you're exceptionally really good at that, case to case basis, but very exceptionally. Otherwise, just be very sorted, be very clear with what you want to go ahead with. So the decision of the interview panel definitely stands final in any case. So we don't change it.
Very good. And that's exactly would be the case. So, the last thing which I want my students, the IMS students who my kind of mentor do is take a decision and wait that 1 year. For you right now, time is very important. Be very clear with what you want. And for that clarity, I can assure you that nobody would kind of back out. They would give you the kind of direction you are looking out for. And we will make sure we get the universities who would kind of cater to the requirements you have. And I hope with this particular last question, please make sure you answer this with a raise of hand. I hope this particular session what we have done for you all is helpful. Okay, we got one raise of hand. I'm happy. I'm not happy with one though. Only four. Come on, 16. We can do better. Okay. तो बाकी को अच्छा नहीं लगा, सिर्फ 6 लोगों को अच्छा लगा. Okay. I'm sure this is very helpful. Okay, thank you. Harshit, you're most welcome. If you have any questions, if you need any support, do let me know. My Telegram ID, if you are on Telegram channel, if you want to connect with me, I am mentioning my number as well. Please ping me if you have any questions. And if you want any further support with the application process with OP Jindal, please do connect. We will make sure we get this done. And you are, one of we are one of the students for the 22 session what they are starting on the 19th of September, right, Meenakshi?
That's 12th of September.
12th of September. So that's when the session is starting. If you are planning to apply for OP Jindal, by the way, just a quick question. How many of you would be considering OP Jindal? I mean, after the session, after the clarity, 5, 6. 6 of you would be considering OP Jindal. All right, great, great. Good to hear that. 7 students, Meenakshi. So a good thing here. If you need any support, please do connect. And thank you again, Meenakshi. It was such a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for guiding my students and kind of giving them the direction they needed. I'll definitely be in touch with you.
It's always a delight to be of any value to the young minds, and it's been a pleasure for me to spend this evening so meaningfully, adding to what people wanted to know. Sorry guys if it's not been very interesting, mind talking. Believe me, I just wanted to make sure that you know absolutely in and out about what JGBS is in very, very brief time. But nonetheless, feel free to connect with any of us. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. That's exactly where I'm the most active. I am not an Insta gen, to be very honest. So you may just find an IT lying idle out there. But yes, when it comes to our students, we make sure that we develop a good human out of them first before anything else. So
absolutely,
JGBS is not just about creating professionals, but value-driven professionals. So on that note, signing off, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming over, Meenakshi. It was lovely to have you. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, lovely audience. Thank you for being so patient and such a lovely audience. Thank you. Have a good night and bye-bye.